Hey guys, welcome to Neighbor Stories with JusRead. Today we're diving into some incredible stories about overcoming the toughest neighbor disputes, hate dramas, and dealing with entitled people. Our story is titled, "We Renovated House for the Family for Free After Entitled Neighbors Destroyed It." The story starts like this. It was just another regular day at the office for me and my team at the home renovation charity I run. We had gotten hundreds of emails and letters that morning from families across the country pleading for our help to fix up their homes after dealing with difficult circumstances. As the director, it was my job to read through as many of their stories as I could and decide which ones we could realistically take on for our next big project. Most of the requests were pretty standard: houses badly in need of repairs because the owners couldn't afford them, dealing with damage from natural disasters, that sort of thing. But one email caught my eye almost immediately. The subject line read, "Please help us after our entitled neighbors destroyed our home." Naturally, I had to know more. I opened up the email and began reading. "Dear Renovation Angels, my name is Sarah, and I have never felt so hopeless and violated as I do right now. Our family has lived in our beautiful home in a quiet suburb of Denver for almost 15 years now. We loved everything about it: the huge backyard for our kids to play in, the spacious kitchen, the cozy finished basement. It was our dream home in so many ways. That all changed about a year ago when a new couple moved in 2 houses down. At first, they seemed nice enough, and we welcomed them to the neighborhood with a homemade pie. But it quickly became clear that the husband, Brad, had a mean streak and an overinflated sense of entitlement. Things started out small at first. He would complain to us if our kids' toys inadvertently went into his yard while they were playing. Or he would get aggressive if we parked in the cul-de-sac for even a minute when friends came over. He was obsessed with making sure every single blade of grass on his lawn looked perfect. But the real problems began when Brad became convinced that a large tree in our front yard was going to fall on his house at some point because it hung over his property line. We had an arborist come out and inspect it, and they determined the tree was healthy and posed no danger whatsoever to his house. That wasn't good enough for Brad though. He started sending us insanely long emails ranting about how we were being irresponsible homeowners by not cutting down his tree. When we refused, saying we wouldn't remove a perfectly healthy tree, things escalated quickly. One night around midnight, we were awoken by the sound of a chainsaw roaring in our front yard. We looked outside and saw Brad cutting down our tree himself. We ran out and there was a huge confrontation that ended with the police showing up. Long story short, Brad was arrested but released on bond pretty quickly, to our dismay. Over the next few months, the harassment and threats only got worse. Brad was utterly convinced we had wronged him and he was determined to get revenge. He started leaving dead animals like raccoons and opossums on our front porch. He egged our cars and our house almost every night. We installed security cameras all around our property, but he still found ways to torment and threaten us constantly. Then, this past week, after we left to take our kids to their grandparents' house for spring break, Brad struck in the most harmful way yet. He and his wife broke into our house and completely ransacked the entire place from top to bottom. They broke out every single window and kicked holes in all the walls. They smashed every appliance, every TV, every piece of furniture. When we returned home from our trip, we were horrified to find the place we had made so many beautiful family memories in turned into a total disaster zone. Shards of glass, wrecked furniture, shredded curtains, spray paint everywhere, you name it. It was like a tornado had torn through every single room. Police found evidence at the scene showing Brad and his wife were behind it, and they could face criminal charges. But that's little consolation when our house, our family's sanctuary, lies in ruins, and we don't have the money to fix it after Brad drained our savings with all his court fees and legal threats. We are decent people who have done nothing but live our lives and mind our own business. But Brad's toxic entitlement has taken everything from us. My kids can't even walk through their playroom or bedrooms without crying. We're having to stay with relatives until we can somehow find a way to repair this nightmare he has turned our home into. So I'm pleading with your organization to please help us move forward with our lives. We have attached photos to show the full extent of the damage Brad inflicted on our house in his unhinged rage. We just want to feel safe and secure in our home again. I don't know what else to do. Thank you for your consideration. Sarah." By the time I finished reading Sarah's heartbreaking message, tears were welling up in my eyes. These were good, honest people who had endured months of torment and intimidation from their deranged neighbor. And for what? Because they refused to cut down a perfectly healthy tree that was rightfully on their own property? Brad's horrific actions were clearly those of an entitled, vindictive bully who couldn't stand having his irrational demands defied. And now, because of his vengeance, an innocent family was living a nightmare, their safe haven destroyed out of sheer spite. I quickly forwarded Sarah's email to the rest of my team, and we discussed it over an emergency Zoom call. There was no debate about whether to choose them as our next renovation project. It was a resounding yes from every single person. These were the types of good people we had started our charity to help in the first place. We decided to go one step further too. Given the severity of the harassment and destruction they had endured, we would set aside $50,000 in funds to not only fully repair their house, but to renovate and upgrade it beyond their wildest dreams. We could remake their space into an even better sanctuary to help them move past this trauma. First though, I sent a reply to Sarah saying that we had decided to take on her family's case. I let her know that one of our team members would be reaching out soon to schedule a video call so we could discuss everything in more detail. Over the next week, we got to know Sarah, her husband Dion, and their two young sons Tommy and Mike, through several video meetings. We went through all the police reports, saw the horrifying photos documenting the damage Brad had inflicted on their beloved home, and heard their tearful stories firsthand about how the escalating harassment had turned their lives upside down. At one point, Tommy, who was only 7 years old, asked me in that sweet, innocent childhood voice, "Are you and your team going to be able to make our house feel like a home again? I really miss my bed and all my toys." In that moment, I felt a surging determination to not just restore their home, but to make it even better and safer for them than ever before. The first step we decided after discussing options with Sarah and Dion would be filing a civil lawsuit against Brad and his wife for damages, harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Thankfully, Sarah's father was good friends with a high-powered attorney who took the case pro bono out of sheer disgust over Brad's egregious actions. With the legal process underway, we went to work smoothing out the logistics for renovating their house. Our contractors and construction team moved in first to begin repairing the broken windows, bashed-in walls, and other structural damage from Brad's rampage. We decided that simply returning their house to its previous state wasn't enough. If we were going to help this family move on and feel safe again, we needed to completely reimagine the space with strong security features and amenities to lift their spirits. First on the list was installing a state-of-the-art security system, with exterior motion cameras, alarm systems that could immediately alert the police, and reinforced doors and windows that would be almost impossible to break into again. My team worked with security experts to build overlapping systems that would deter even the most determined criminal. We added tall privacy fences around the perimeter of their yard too. Second, we focused on upgrading the house's interior with all sorts of changes to make it feel open, airy, full of natural light, and most of all, serene. We expanded the kitchen by knocking down a wall and installing huge new windows to let the sunshine pour in. We gave the living room a modern fireplace and built-in shelving for a cozy entertainment space. For Tommy and Mike, we revamped their bedrooms to feel like a kid's dream hideout. We added indoor tree houses suspended from the ceiling with slides, climbing walls, hidden study nooks, and gaming setups where they could play together. Their closets were transformed into magical wardrobe spaces themed to their favorite movies like Narnia and Jurassic Park. Downstairs, we created the ultimate family hangout zone. In the basement, we built a huge open area with an indoor playground and ball pit for the kids. We added a cutting-edge home theater system with a gigantic projector screen and plush recliner seats. There was a kitchenette for making snacks, and a game room with a pool table, arcade games, and virtual reality gaming rigs. The backyard received its own incredible makeover too. We tore out the old concrete patio and put in a massive multi-level deck made from eco-friendly composite materials. Part of it had a shaded gazebo with cozy patio furniture, while another section featured a large hot tub and outdoor kitchen with a grill and fridge. For the kids, we built an awesome Ford-inspired playset with swings, a rock climbing wall, and a treehouse connected by a winding tube slide. Throughout the renovation process, Sarah and her family stayed with her parents nearby so they could pop over regularly and check on the progress. Every time I saw the look of joy and relief wash over their faces as they got a glimpse at how their new home was taking shape, it made all the hard work worth it. We were helping to heal their wounds and create new joyful memories. After nearly 4 months of around-the-clock work, Demo Day finally arrived. The big moment when we could officially reveal their newly renovated home in all its glory. Sarah, Dion, Tommy, and Mike had no idea just how far we had gone to transform their space into a dream oasis tailored perfectly for their family. We brought them to the front of the house and had them cover their eyes with blindfolds. As they walked up the renovated driveway clutching hands, you could feel the anticipation radiating off them. When they were perfectly positioned, my team surrounded them, and I gave the signal for them to remove their blindfolds. The looks on their faces as they got their first glimpse of the brand new house were absolutely priceless. Tommy and Mike's mouths dropped open so wide you could have parked a truck in there. Dion immediately scooped them both up and held them tight, tears of joy streaming down his face. Sarah just kept repeating, "Oh my God," while clasping her hands over her mouth. I took the opportunity to announce the total cost of the renovations, which my team and I had been able to bring down to around $100,000, thanks to repair fund donations and discounts from our contractors. But we wouldn't be passing that massive cost on to the family. From everyone here at Renovation Angels, please accept this home as our official gift to you, completely paid in full, I said to a bewildered Sarah and Dion. Not a dime of your own money went into rebuilding this sanctuary. We wanted to not only restore what was so brutally taken from you, but elevate it into your forever dream home that you can feel completely safe and secure in. Sarah immediately burst into tears and hugged me tightly, thanking me over and over again. Dion grabbed my hand and started shaking it vigorously, unable to even put his gratitude into words. After letting the family have some private time exploring the renovations and making themselves at home, we gathered everyone together out on the deck for an official house re-warming party. We had rented a huge tent, brought in catering, there was a live band playing, and tons of fun outdoor games for the kids. Local businesses had even donated gift cards, toys, and housewarming gifts. It was an outpouring of love and support from the entire community, all to help one family overcome their horrific ordeal and heal together. As I looked around at the scene of pure joy unfolding all around me, I felt immensely proud of what my team had helped make possible. The final piece fell into place a few weeks after the house re-warming celebration. I received word that the judge in Sarah and Dion's civil case against Brad and his wife had made a ruling, and it was everything we could have hoped for. Not only were they ordering Brad and his horrible wife to pay the full $100,000 cost of the renovations to our charity, but they were also slapping them with an additional $50,000 in damages to be paid directly to Sarah and Dion. The judge didn't mince words either, calling their campaign of harassment, threats, and ultimate destruction of their neighbor's home reprehensible and unforgivable. Brad tried to protest the massive judgment, ranting and raving about his rights being violated, but the judge swiftly shut him down. She said that based on the clear evidence they had compiled, he was getting off easy and should honestly face criminal charges for his egregious actions. Security had to forcibly remove Brad from the courtroom after his outburst. For Sarah and Dion's family, the legal victory was the final step in their long journey from victims of harassment to being able to fully move on and enjoy their beautiful new home without fear. When I shared the news with them over video chat, Dion pumped his fist in the air, and Tommy and Mike started cheering and giving each other high fives. Sarah had a peaceful, contented smile as she spoke to me. "You have no idea what a massive weight this has taken off our shoulders. Now we can put this entire ugly chapter behind us, and just focus on living our lives without looking over our shoulders anymore." In the months and years following, our team kept in touch with Sarah's family and paid them occasional visits. It was incredible to see how they had blossomed and come into their own in their safe haven of a home. The kids were thriving, getting good grades, playing outside nonstop, and always eager to show off their incredible themed basement hangout spaces. Sarah and Dion hosted regular neighborhood get-togethers and watch parties in their home theater room. You could see the tension visibly leaving their bodies as they finally allowed themselves to relax and embrace their secure, peaceful environment after so much trauma. The renovations had clearly played a huge role in helping them heal, but I knew the monetary judgment against Brad was also a big part of the closure they felt. While no amount of money could undo the fear and anguish he put them through, it did provide some sense of accountability. In fact, Brad was ultimately forced to sell his house and move away from the neighborhood after Dion's attorney secured liens on all his property and assets. The last I heard, he was an utterly broke pariah who had brought all his problems onto himself through his toxic arrogance and entitlement. A fitting punishment for someone whose despicable actions had tried to destroy an innocent family's sanctuary. As for me and my team at Renovation Angels, we felt immensely fulfilled after seeing this project through from such a heartbreaking beginning to that joyful celebration on Demo Day. Helping families overcome unthinkable obstacles and create new happy memories is what it's all about for us. While most of our projects don't involve such an extreme situation as this one did, they all underscore how a safe, comfortable living environment should be a basic right for every family. By using our renovation skills and resources to give that gift to those who have struggled through no fault of their own, we believe we're making the world a little bit better, one beautiful home at a time. Update. As for Sarah and Dion's renewed home life in the years following, it was everything I could have hoped for when we first set out to give them this incredible fresh start. It was almost haunting to recall those video calls from years earlier when their faces were fraught with fear, hopelessness, and despair. Now, those same expressions were marked by pure contentment, happiness, and a sense of being completely at peace. Anytime I stopped by for a visit, it was like stepping into an idealized version of the American dream home. The sounds of kids laughing and playing echoed through every room. The kitchen was a lively gathering space where Sarah would be whipping up meals from scratch using fresh produce from her own bountiful garden out back. Dion usually had some home improvement project going, putting his handyman skills to work on creating even more bespoke spaces tailored to their family's needs and interests. They hosted neighborhood block parties and get-togethers on a regular basis, having finally shed the self-imposed isolation they lived under while being terrorized. The backyard deck and outdoor kitchen were a constant hive of activity when the weather was nice, filled with the aroma of sizzling barbecue and the melodic chatter of friends reconnecting over cold drinks. Most importantly, You could see that Sarah and Diane's bond as partners had become unbreakable after the trial by fire they endured together. Long nights of sleepless fear and constant hypervigilance had ultimately only reinforced their commitment to each other, and providing an amazing life for their sons. Their ability to find pockets of normalcy and joy even in the darkest of times is what got them through that waking nightmare, resolute in protecting their family haven. One evening, while enjoying a few beers together on their deck, Diane opened up about the continuing role that house played in giving their clan strength and resilience. You know, Ty, after Brad's sentencing hearing and those depositions digging up all the traumatic details, there were definitely some tough weeks where past memories resurfaced, he said in a somber tone. We'd have sudden anxiety attacks, couldn't sleep through the night without one of us waking up in a cold sweat thinking we heard noises. But then I'd walk through this place, the home you all built for us, and just take it all in, Dion continued, his eyes welling up with tears. Every amazing personal touch, all the special spaces we could make new memories in, it all served as a reminder of how far we've come. A real tangible space of triumph over what that awful man put us through. Your hard work didn't just give us a set of rebuilt walls and furniture, Ty. It gave us an everlasting light at the end of the tunnel to walk towards, a safe haven that we could settle into and let our guards down again without fear or shame. This place represented hope, courage, and perseverance all coming together into our family's rested paradise. At that moment, Tommy came bounding out from the indoor treehouse bedroom to show us the latest art project he had created. A beaming smile stretched across Sarah's face as she squeezed my arm and mouthed, "Thank you," while admiring her son's carefree joy. I knew that single-most interaction encapsulated everything these extraordinary people had fought and sacrificed for, the ability to simply appreciate their family life again without living in constant terror. The true measure of success for our renovation wasn't just aesthetics or smart design, but giving them that priceless opportunity to heal. As the sun set over their meticulously landscaped backyard oasis, I felt an overwhelming sense of pride and fulfillment over what a life-changing impact our work had achieved here. Not everyone at Renovation Angels gets to bear witness to these kind of full-circle transformations, so I committed every second of this picture-perfect moment to memory. No amount of money or accolades could ever top knowing that your own blood, sweat, and tireless efforts directly empowered an incredible family to reclaim their lives from darkness. Sarah, Dion and their resilient sons had taken the solid foundation we provided and constructed an unshakable way of life, one defined by laughter, love, and unapologetic joy in the face of past trauma. As evening fell, the twinkling lights lining the deck and landscaping came to life, bathing the backyard in a warm, tranquil glow. Tommy and Mike were taking turns on the large swing set we had installed, working together to build up enough momentum for Mike to seriously launch himself from the swing into the safety of the thick rubber mulch ground covering. "Did you see how far I went that time?" Mike shouted eagerly after sticking an especially epic landing. "Yeah, dude, that was crazy. You almost made it to the garden beds," Tommy encouraged with a big smile before taking his turn on the swing. From the outdoor kitchen nearby, Sarah and Diane watched on with content smiles as they prepped ingredients for dinner. Dion flashed me a wink and subtly gestured over to a nearby shed where he had started construction on yet another ambitious project. This time it was going to be a miniature indoor basketball court reconnected to the main basement rec room. "Just wait till you see what I've got planned next," he mouthed with his signature proud grin. The guy absolutely never stopped finding creative ways to make this place even more incredible for his family. As the boys kept playing and the tantalizing aromas of Dion's famous burgers filled the air, I felt a tremendous weight lift off my own shoulders. All the long hours, endless design revisions, and construction chaos had led to this evening, a simple snapshot of blessed normalcy after so much hate and ugliness. Seeing the way Sarah affectionately rested her hand on the small of Dion's back as they worked the grill together, spoke volumes about the depth of their revitalized partnership. Their ability to find joy in the simplest of bonding moments proved they had truly rose up from being broken victims to a family embracing their hard-won second chance at life. In that moment, I realized this home's true power to healing their souls. It was never just about the spectacular design elements or cutting-edge amenities we had incorporated, though those were all incredibly fun to create. No. The greatest gift this place provided was the freedom of feeling whole, safe, and blissfully ordinary again after extraordinary hardship. As their uproarious laughter filled the mild evening air, I thought about how this family's darkest days of torment were forever in the rear view. The road ahead was one paved with an embrace of life's precious little moments and a deep gratitude for finding peace. No more hiding or living in fear's shadow, just making decades worth of memories within these customized walls, sharing quality time with loved ones, and nurturing dreams for the future. This was their everlasting refuge from harm, a headquarters of happiness no person or circumstance could ever take away from them again. With a satisfied smile, I quietly made my way towards the driveway to give them some well-deserved privacy for the rest of the evening. As I took one last glance back at the still playing kids, and Sarah lovingly swatting Dion with a towel, I felt immensely proud knowing our work had played a small part in making this wonderful scene possible. In that fleeting moment, I hope they could feel just how much admiration and healing energy surrounded this special place, built on the power of resilience, fueled by hope for brighter days ahead, and anchored in the impenetrable foundation of a family's unconditional love. For all our sakes, I wish their laughter would echo through these halls forever. And guys, with this we have reached the end of the video. If you enjoyed this epic neighbor showdown, please smash that like button, comment with some house emojis to show your support, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks a lot, and I will see you again tomorrow with another amazing story.